modern day Mount Rushmore. He's in the 4th spot. Lamar at 1, Josh Allen at 2, Burrow at 3, there's Mahomes, and then Jaden Daniels. So he is on the Mount Rushmore of active quarterbacks. Do you have an issue with this?
Well, listen, I haven't seen the segment. So I want to be fair. Is this a fantasy football ranking?
No, real football.
Because if it's a fantasy football ranking, it's totally fair. Like, I think that those guys, certainly last year, all 3 of them had better individual stats than Patrick. If this is an actual quarterback ranking, it's embarrassing. Because it is not, Brew, about quarterback wins. It is about all of those guys are obviously S-Bob, and all of those guys play each other in the playoffs. Well, 3 of them play each other in the playoffs. Burrow's been, not making it the last couple of years. Yeah. And all of those guys play Patrick, he outplays them, and they lose.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Joe Burrow, the last time he made the playoffs, they played in a conference championship game, and Patrick was demonstrably better and beat him, even though that was in Joe's adopted stadium in Kansas City, Burrowhead. The next year, Patrick played Lamar in Lamar's one and only conference championship game in Lamar's actual stadium, and Patrick outplayed him, and they lost. The next year, Patrick, for the 4th time, played Josh in a playoff game, for the 4th time outplayed him, and for the 4th time beat him. And so those, if you put them all together, those 3 guys, all of whom are ahead of Patrick, have played him each of the last 3 years in the playoffs and are worse than him across the board, except for, I guess, 8 more total yards per game. So that includes rushing to, give, that's total yards, which is a fair way to do it. And they lose. And so the only available knock on Patrick is his regular season numbers have been depressed the last 2 years. And really, I think most people 2 years ago, when he was coming off an MVP, Brew, mostly just blamed the drops. So last year was the first year was like Patrick wasn't as sharp, even though they were winning. To which I would say, I really hope for Ravens, Bills, and Bengals fans, one day we get to see what their quarterbacks look like if the regular season is the preseason for them, the way it is for Patrick. If they've accomplished everything there is to accomplish in the sport again and again and again, and so they are kind of going through the motions in the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to make a couple separate videos with this, but Nick just walked into this so beautifully for me. Oh, God, this is too good. This is too good. Because he's using these graphics and these just pure stats as to why Patrick Mahomes is indeed better than Josh Allen, Lamar, Joe Burrow. I mean, he's just going through all of them, head to head, and then, collectively, and he's like, he outplays them every single time they play one another. You already know where I'm going with this. Jalen Hurts versus Patrick Mahomes in their 2 head-to-head Super Bowl matchups. So don't give me the AFC Conference Championship game or this. Don't give me that. This is the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts has more passing yards, more rushing yards, more total touchdowns, less turnovers, and just dominated completely undressed him. I mean, let's just do the most recent year. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, 21 for 32, 257 yards, which we know a big chunk of that, at least like 50 yards, came in absolute garbage time. 3 touchdowns. We know a couple of those touchdowns were, also garbage time. 2 interceptions, 6 sacks, an 11.4 QBR, and a 95.4 rating. I'd have to find my notes, but I had written it down before he started getting those junk touchdowns. I think his passer rating was originally like in the 70s or something. So again, even his stats are obviously misleading and juiced up, as Wilds, hilariously highlighted that, his touchdowns were when Sirianni was getting a Gatorade bath and confetti was falling from the sky. So it's like, even those stats are a little bit juiced up. Jalen Hurts' stats, on the other hand, are not juiced up. If anything, they're down played because of they were winning so much. Like eventually it was like, I just got to kind of hand the ball off. Like I'm not going to really be doing much right now. 17 for 22, pretty high completion percentage, 221 yards, an average of 10 yards per pass attempt, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 2 sacks, a 75.4 QBR, and a 119.7 passer rating. And he had 11 carries himself, 72 yards, and a touchdown run. I mean, he outplayed him. He outplayed him in both Super Bowls. So therefore, again, under Nick Wright's whole logic of all of this, Jalen Hurts is an absolute, without a shadow of a doubt, elite quarterback. That's what we're going by here. You gotta be consistent with your logic. Like if you're just gonna go by this whole head-to-head thing, and you want to say that this proves that Patrick Mahomes is above all these players, I mean, Jalen Hurts versus Joe Burrow, Cincinnati Bengals, the most recent game that they played, 16 of 20, 236 yards, 11.8 yards per attempt, 1 touchdown, a 96.5 QBR, and a 132.5 passer rating. And the guy had 10 carries for 37 yards and 3 touchdowns. We know how he does. Joe Burrow, 26 for 37, 234 yards, 6.3 yards per attempt, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, a 91.3 QBR, still pretty good, and an 84.7 passer rating. And the dude had 3 carries for 15 yards. That is good. What else we got here? This was the last time that he played the Buffalo Bills, which was in 2023. The year that Jalen Hurts did not have that stacked roster that everyone always loves to talk about. He went 18 for 31, 200 yards, 6.5 yards per attempt, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. 57.9 QBR, but a 96.2 rating. Had 14 carries for 65 yards and 2 touchdowns, including a walk-off touchdown to win it all in overtime. Josh Allen, 29 for 51, 339 yards, 6.6 yards per pass attempt, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, an 82.5 QBR, but an 82.1 passer rating. Also carried the ball for 9 carries, 81 yards, 2 touchdowns. I got to rewatch that game. That game was wild. I remember there was like a ton of penalties in that game, especially for the Buffalo Bills. But wild game. But Josh, Jalen Hurts outdueled him. Had the big game. Had more total touchdowns, higher passer rating. Had the walk-off win by his own hands. He ran it off and no, it was no tush push. And then let's have this uncomfortable conversation. Again, if we're going by these stats like this, and I only have access to this graphics a little bit easier. That's why I'm doing it total now. Jalen Hurts versus Lamar Jackson, first 5 years. Jalen Hurts has more wins, more passing yards per game, more total touchdowns, same Pro Bowl selections, 2 conference titles, and Jalen Hurts has a Super Bowl and a Super Bowl MVP. And Jalen Hurts has been to more Super Bowls than Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert combined. So again, listen, I'm not a fan. To be very clear, I'm not a fan of just using these head-to-heads as proof. The only time I ever really do this type of stuff is when someone else sets me up for it. A lot of times. It's like, if we're going to use that logic, if someone in the comment section, if someone in the media, whoever, we're going to use this logic, then we have to use this logic. And again, Nick's like saying, oh, what about the regular season is really considered preseason and this and that and this and that. Like, if you don't want to use head-to-head, then you just use playoff stats then. And if you want to use then just playoff stats because those games matter, Josh Allen's better. Josh Allen has more total yards per game, A better touchdown to interception ratio. I did a whole video breaking that down. Unfortunately, that video now is going to be technically dated because it was before last playoffs. I went down through all the numbers because Nick Wright cooked the books when he was showing Patrick Mahomes was like number 1 in every single playoff stat, and it's like, no, he's not. Not even close. So, so again, it's like if you want to use numbers like these, you have to then you have to use these numbers. This all anytime I think of this, it always makes me just think of that commercial. I got to look it up one of these days. Where it's like, if you wanted to throw 50 yards, give him 50 yards. It's like all I think about. For what even commercial was that for? Like, I don't even remember, Nerf or something. But because it's like, if we want to use the numbers, then use the numbers. Then have the honest conversation about it. If you want to use head-to-head matchups, then use head-to-head matchups. It's just funny to me. And listen, I'm going to now make another video talking about this because I'm not going to pretend that I'm putting Patrick Mahomes at 4 or I'm putting Jalen Hurts at 1 or 2. Like, I'm not, like, I'm really not. And honestly, the more I talk about these conversations, the more I have these conversations or watch these conversations with these ratings, in a lot of ways, I become a lot less interested, especially in these like defined 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not the way how I view it. I enjoy having these conversations to a degree, right? But it has to be under very specific circumstances. And for me, I enjoy breaking down and disarming other people's arguments for why they think a ranking should be, rather than 100% trying to figure out who is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's why it's like when I see him setting up these infographics, I'm like, well, you're setting me up then to just be like, well, then what about Jalen Hurts and versus Patrick Mahomes or any of these other quarterbacks? Like, what's the information there? If that's what you're using as your evidence, as your argument, it's like, well, then you can't skip Jalen Hurts. Then it's not the way that works, especially when we're talking about like major games. It's not like we're talking about a random regular season game here. We're talking about Super Bowls. Like that matters. And you can't say, well, the team, and it's like, well, then why aren't we talking about the team here? Why aren't we talking about, well, this guy has this defense, this guy has that offense, like this coach and that coach? I mean, by Nick's own, opinion, Kellen Moore's not a good OC. So it's like, you can't say a coaching advantage for Jalen Hurts or something. So it's just funny to me. And like I said, I'm going to make another video where I talk specifically more about Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, and Lamar, and that 4, and where I'd probably potentially order them. But yeah, it's too complicated in that conversation to shoehorn in Jalen Hurts in that conversation, because I will keep it about those 4 quarterbacks. And like I said, to be clear, I'm not, when I went through that whole rant, it's like, I'm not saying, well, that means Jalen Hurts has to be a number 1 quarterback, because like that's really not what I'm arguing at all. It's more just arguing the flaw in logic. And if that's going to be your logic, well, then Jalen Hurts actually, like, your hands are tied then. Jalen Hurts has to be number 1. Like, that's just the logic. If that's the logic you're going to be, you inadvertently admit that Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback in the NFL. I don't make the rules. That's what I'm saying. I'm not making these rules. He is. It's not me, man. It's not me. Can't blame me. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Nick Wright inadvertently admitting that Jalen Hurts is actually the best quarterback in the NFL and better than none other than the Patrick Mahomes? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're all on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.